Hello and welcome to Law and Order SVU here on FANVERSATION. We are talking season 22, episode 7, Hunt, Trap, Rape, and Release. We will discuss that title in just a bit. Before we jump in, as always, I am Yael Tygiel. I'm joined by Taylor Gates. Hello, Taylor.
Hello.
And the permanent return of Felicia Michelle. Hello, Felicia.
Hello. I'm so happy to be reunited. It feels like, like when Destiny's Child popped up at the Super Bowl and we were like, yes, that's all of us. Any of y'all could be Beyonce, though. I'm not picky.
That's so generous of you.
That is so generous.
Yeah, I love you guys, of course.
I'm more flattered than I thought I would be. Thank you. Mostly because we know I'm the Beyonce of this group.
Fair enough.
Facts.
Before we jump into this episode, as a reminder, if you are in a situation, if you need help, please reach out to RAINN. Their number is 1-800-656-4673. Felicia, do you remember what that spells? Taylor. Taylor, what does that spell?
It spells hope.
It spells
hope. That's okay,
hope.
Felicia. You know it for next week now. We'll
okay,
It'll be great.
I put you on the spot, and now I feel like an asshole.
It's okay. No, that was great.
Yes, 1-800-656-4673, 1-800-656-HOPE. Yes, so if you're in need, please reach out. Also, sometimes this show will go dark, and when it does, we will make light. I think this episode may have gone dark, but I guarantee you we will go light. So consider this your content warning. We already have people in the chat. Welcome. Daryl is here. Hello. And we have Zach saying hello to Felicia.
Hey, Zach.
Welcome. Oh, we're so excited to talk about this episode. Again, 22-7, Hunt, Trap, Rape, and Release. Let me read the quick cap. Benson teams up with Lieutenant Barrack from the Bronx SVU to track down a serial rapist with victims in both boroughs. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this title. I'm trying not to swear.
Why?
I don't know.
When have you ever not swore?
I'm just trying not to. This effing title.
It's
a title.
And maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was like, hey, we need to call this something. Like, so this.
Okay.
And
sure.
No one else had a suggestion.
When I was reading the title and like assuming what it was about, I thought we were going to get hunters or fishers or something. Like it was giving me Hunting Ground vibes, which is that one, you know what I'm talking about, where they
it's one of my favorites.
It's like one of the scariest episodes, honestly. It's like one of the most disturbing ones for me. And so that's what I was like associating it with. Nothing of the sort. Not even close.
Yes. Felicia?
It doesn't really tell you what it's about. Like, it's just like, that's just really rando. Sorry.
Not only does it not tell you what it's about, but it's not about that. I don't know what Hunt, Trap, Rape, and Release is because he didn't hunt. In fact, the MO of our rapist was convenience, easy access.
Right.
So there's no hunting. He doesn't trap them because at no point does he keep them captive. He just literally they're tied up while he's raping them. He rapes them, yes. And then he releases them. Sure. For whatever reason, I guess I thought repeat instead of release. And I was like, oh, so he comes back. Nope.
No.
Yeah. Nah, that isn't it. So a little birdie told me, Taylor, that you didn't like this episode.
Was I the little birdie?
Her name was Yael.
All right, thanks, guys. No, but here's the thing. I think I didn't like it because, first of all, we know I like my twists. Although we had a twist, it was such an obvious twist that I guessed it in 3 seconds. And I'm sorry, if I can guess it in 3 seconds, everyone else is going to guess it in 1 because I am not good at guessing this type of thing.
So what did you guess? I want to know where it was that you were like, I got this, and what it was that you got.
Just the fact that they were hyping Moldovan up. Like, it just, there was vibes. There was so many hints, like, from the beginning. And here's the thing. I think that this episode had a lot of potential that it didn't, like, maximize on, if that makes sense. Like, I really liked Barrack. I would have loved more of her and, like, getting more of her character. I think, what was her name? Ruse, right?
Ruse,
Yeah.
his like partner. I thought she was really interesting too, and we got a little bit of her, but we could have gotten so much more of them. And we focused on this guy, and I was like, but for what? Like, we already know he sucks. Like, why do we need to keep like nailing that down?
It's interesting. Felicia, why don't you tell us your thoughts?
I agree. I feel like there is a lot that could have happened with this to make it have some more. I don't know, like, you know, you're cooking something and it's like, okay, this meal is all right, but you throw a little parsley on it and this looks like way better, you know, and it's just like, where's the parsley at? You know, like this, it was quite obvious from the very beginning of what this was, or that he had some type of involvement, because it was just like, there was like the sinister vibes from him, you know, like it was like creepy vibes. But yeah, I think they could have done a little bit more with that. One thing I found really interesting in this episode was the clash of female power. Like they didn't even want Manhattan to come in at all, and they just didn't want them to touch anything. And it was like you know, but Benson and Barrack and like no, like the clash of, and then you had a clash even on the lower end with Kat and Ruse got all pissed off and was like, you're gonna get ahead and I'm gonna be where I'm at. And Barrack was kind of like that with Olivia, like, yeah, you're gonna be good, but what about me? I'm gonna be in the wind somewhere. They're not going to be like worried about me. There's like constantly a theme I've been noticing and watching older episodes, is that the like female bosses not being able to either have it all or not being able to get along, or there can only be one of us who occupy this space. So I gotta jab you in your tit and get you out of here, bitch. Like that's how they kind of all act in this series along the way. And I was like, dang, here we are again. Like I seen another episode. I thought that power dynamic between women who are already established as in leadership positions, and then women who are just starting their careers was very interesting in the episode. That's like the good part. I think I took away. They could have did a little bit more with that, I think.
That's a really, really interesting point, because I feel like the character of Barrack was, I feel like, underdeveloped as an SVU viewer, right? So maybe if I knew her from Criminal Intent, I would have understood her. But this character was like kind of erratic, as was Moldovan. Like his character, every scene was different. And I appreciated later on when they explained like, oh, he's, you know, devolving because we're getting close. I totally understood that. But every scene you were like, why is this guy freaking out? Why is he super nice now? Why is he mad? And it wasn't clear if he wanted them to team up at the beginning or not. Like that was very confusing. But Barrack specifically felt like she didn't want to work with SVU at all, or with Manhattan at all. And it was very odd, her behavior the whole time. And I think remembering she's from a different show makes me go, oh, I'm supposed to get her and I don't. And I wish we would have had more of her to like understand her, I guess.
It was also like the have and the have-nots too. It was like when like it was like, oh, that now we're the poor kids, we got to come over with the rich kids. Whenever he said like, oh, how many times does a cleaner come in and clean for you guys, or oh, this is so nice, and I was like, it's like I don't understand the animosity. I mean, I guess I could get it. There's less resources and whatnot like that. But like, it just seemed very us versus you. And even the threat at the end from Ruse with the blue line, like, when you call for backup, don't think anybody's going to come. I was like, and I thought Kat was going to knock her head off her shoulders, honestly. But I saw she had her clubbing outfit on. You know, my girl likes to go and party after work. She had her hoops on. So I was like, oh, she's about to whip her ass. But she didn't.
I honestly, Ruse was the best character out of the Bronx, and I wanted her to join Manhattan. So like
100%.
At the end, her throwing a fit. Okay, so let's talk about this end for a second, because the whole thing was that Moldovan had been doing this and it had gone unnoticed. And Barrack and Ruse, I don't know if they live in the same world as men, where men will go, yes, we caught him. We caught him. No one knew it before, and we caught him, and then would get like promoted. And I think that Barrack and Ruse could have easily pulled that card and been like, yeah, we caught him. The guy who was here before didn't see this. We did. And now he's put away, and then get themselves promoted because, well, men do that all the time where they take credit for things that they had nothing to do with. So it seemed odd to me that they were like, now our lives are ruined, when they could have been like, no, we did this. Manhattan had nothing to do with it. We figured it out.
Like, be your own savior. Like, it just, it didn't make it. Actually, now as you say that, I'm thinking like, it doesn't really make sense, because women in positions like that are oftentimes very powerful, because they have to be, because if you're in any male, 1, 2, 3 people sit on the screen right now are in male dominated industries, and you have to be like a really strong minded type of woman. You have to be able to think for yourself. So I do think like it seems a little out of character for someone who's in that position. You've made captain, which means you've been a police officer for how long now? And if anybody knows, if anybody's lived longer than 20 years, you probably understand trusting your gut and listening to your gut, and you had no inclination of that. It seems a little odd. Ruse, I could see like them pulling a ruse on ruse. I get it, but my dad jokes. But I could see that, because she's like young and inexperienced. But why did you miss this? You know, why didn't you? And why was he never promoted? If he's been there so long, he's so great.
Well, to be fair, he's at the same level as Finn. He was a sergeant like Finn.
Yeah.
And Moldovan was, or not Moldovan, sorry, Barrack was a lieutenant, which is where Benson was before this season.
Did they have some type of contact with each other? Because whenever she heard her name, I was like, maybe I just don't know. She looked like, I know that chick from high school. Ugh.
It's honestly, they may have had contact during Criminal Intent. We have Daniel in the chat saying, I did see Criminal Intent. I remember Barrack being a much more confident character. She felt different in this episode. Interesting. Thank you for that.
And I haven't seen Criminal Intent, but I totally agree with that. Just watching this, it didn't feel like right that she didn't have that confidence. And I understand like like she's been here so long and she's been beaten down so many times with, you know, all of these like men telling her what to do. Like, I think that's definitely like a valid point. But the fact that we didn't see that makes it not make sense to me that she was like that. Like, I think we needed to like get a couple of glimpses of that then for that to like connect in my mind.
Yeah,
like,
her behavior from the beginning, hers and Moldovan, was very odd. And so it just felt weird. Oh, so we all agree that Ruse was the best character out of the Bronx, so that we should have kept her.
100%.
I hope that she comes back. But you know, in a Dick Wolf universe, you can come back if you want to. You can kill you off and you will come right on back. You can die and come back, you know, so hopefully she'll be back.
And I also just related to her because she was so sad that Kat didn't actually want to party with her. And I was like, I too would have been very upset if I found that out. Like, I would feel betrayed because I love Kat. Like, I want her to actually hang out with me.
You know what, though? Here's what's interesting. I think the way Kat treated her is fair. Kat's in her position. She needed to find out. And if you recall, Finn's fiance, he straight up accused her to her face of trafficking women. So I feel like this girl, Ruse, should get over it.
No, I agree. And I was like, okay, she literally didn't like do anything bad to you. Like, I think that she actually did really like you, but she also had to like get this information. So like, calm down. But at the same time, I'm just like, I also want her to want to be my friend. Like,
I think once she gets over the fact that her mentor was a rapist, she'll realize that what Kat did was not bad.
Yeah, agreed.
Hopefully.
The psychology behind it was just strange too. It's like, I'm so obsessed with catching a rapist that I'm going to rape like the rapist. What did that do? Like, what did that? Did I miss that or something? Like,
I think it was that because it was always when he was drunk. So not that I'm obviously not excusing that, but I think when he got drunk, he would rape. And the only way to get away with himself raping it was to do it with the MO of the other rapists, which I will say, a weird sentence coming out of my mouth. How impressive that you can adapt your MO to the rapist you're hunting. I think that like there's some sort of evil geniusness there, and that should be appreciated. And I kind of wish that would have been the story more. So like something about this rapist who changes his MO based on what the current case is.
Yeah, like camouflaging himself almost. Because we saw that a little bit with like one case, but like I think you're right. If he would have been able to do like 6 cases, that would have been the more
Insane.
interesting story. Yeah.
Or if he would have gotten away with actually kidnapping Rollins, and we really see him devolve, but again, like, she's been in really horrific situations already, and Olivia's past her kidnapping days, so I get that they didn't want to do that and maybe didn't want to go there, but I was like, oh my gosh, he's taking her, and I was like, oh, he's not going anywhere. Okay.
We get one kidnapping a season for our team. I feel like that's pretty much the ratio. It's like every season, someone on the team, like, Kat's in trouble next. I have a feeling.
Yeah, that's the thing. Every season, one woman gets kidnapped.
Yep.
Has Finn been kidnapped?
That's not even in the character structure. He would probably be too hilarious. Like, he's just too funny. Like, when he says something, he's trying to be serious. Like, he'll be like, yeah, he's dead. Like, he'll just say things that are just like, so, like, it's just funny. Like, I know he's not trying to be funny and his character is serious and the topics are very serious, but I just don't think he has it in him to get kidnapped. Like,
that would be so interesting, actually. Just, like, see him play that, because, like, he's gotten emotional, especially with, like, his son and things, but yeah, he is very stoic, and, like, we've talked about this a bunch of times where he, like, turns it off at the end of the day and he goes home and does his thing. But that would be really interesting to see him, like, reckon with being in more personal danger.
I just think it's interesting on our show that Benson's been kidnapped like a billion times. Rollins has been kidnapped a few times now. We're sure that Kat will be kidnapped.
I promise.
Count your days, Kat. Count your days, girl.
I just think it's odd that our team has always been a majority male, and yet it's the women who keep getting kidnapped. Just something to think about. I want to talk about the taxi driver / the rapist. The character was Danny Gonzalez. So this actor, I was watching this and I was like, why does this guy look familiar? And it's not because he's a repeat offender. The actor is Jamie Zovalos. I interviewed him for Cloak and Dagger.
I love that.
I was like, why does this guy look familiar?
That's hilarious.
Yeah, interestingly, he played a priest on Cloak and Dagger, a, like, alcoholic priest. And in this one, he was a devout Catholic, which I think is odd.
It's an interesting typecast.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's range, baby. That's range. That is range.
Yeah, I really loved the scene in the interrogation with him where he was like, let me see if I can help. I couldn't have done it. I was just trying to break in. It's the middle of the day. She should have been at work. Which
I couldn't have been there. I was in jail in Tallahassee.
Right. It's fair to think that middle of the day someone would be at work if we were not in the middle of a pandemic.
Right.
Which, as you may have noticed, this episode abandoned masks completely. I think they're done. I think they're like, we're done.
And also the line that was very weird to me, like, I understand that New York was definitely in a worse place like a year ago, but they're like, you remember, like, this many people had died, there was all these things on the street, and they're like, yeah, but that was then, this is now. And I'm like, we're very much still in that. Like, it has not changed that much for you to be like, it's over. Like, it isn't. So that was a weird line to me a little bit.
Like, we are still in this global Panasonic. We are never going, it feels like we're never going to get out. But I do understand what they were trying to say as far as, like, all the trucks and we know what the images look like. It makes perfect sense. But it was just like, it's kind of hard to have a show that's based in realism or some sense of realism, and we're not talking about the fact that we're in a pandemic still. Like, we've thrown the mask to the wind. Like, just literally just take them off. Like, y'all don't even got the face shields. Like, if you don't want to cover your mouth, okay, can we, like, get the little fake face shields that don't work, by the way? Sorry, guys. They don't work. Like, we're just not going to do anything. They did get their food takeout, though. I did notice that they waited outside the restaurant and he brought their food out to them. I did notice that. But that's the only thing I could think of that's, like,
there's the
COVID.
3 cleaning people who come in.
But then we were in a bar. But then we were in a bar later. So, like, okay. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about this copycatness
Yes.
of the case, because if we remember the episode where Carisi is staying at the sex offender halfway house, which then had that every third rape was the lawyer of the rapist. So when we were in the interrogation and they said that Danny Gonzalez was a devout Catholic, my roommate, who I guess hadn't seen that episode, was like, "Oh, it's the lawyer. The lawyer's the copycat." And I went, "No, we already did that. So it would have to be someone with the same amount of access, but also like confidentiality." And I went, "It's his priest. We're gonna meet his priest, and that's who it is." Because that would have been so much more interesting.
Yeah.
But in Law and Order, like history, the priest will always be like, "Can't tell you nothing, but I gotta tell you something." Like, so it's like, so I didn't think that, because usually when we have a priest, they're trying to do the right thing of some sorts, but like also, I guess, do their due diligence to protect their parishioners' privacy.
If you're gonna bring up that he's a devout Catholic, I'm assuming the correlation is the like putting their hands like this.
Oh,
But
the good girl, yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, what does it matter that he's like? What does that have to do with anything? And can we talk about what a terrible name Good Girl Rapist is? That's the name we're going with?
I mean, look at the name of the
I
episode.
agree.
You cannot expect much more. Like, that was as good as it was gonna get.
Like, why didn't we incorporate Good Girl into the episode title then? That could have fixed everything.
I thought the first time that Barrack said, "Oh, the Good Girl Rapist," I thought that either Finn or Benson would have been like, something to do with the title, like the trapper, the hunter trapper, the rape and release. Like, pick a word from the title.
Anything.
Use that.
Exactly. Yeah, terrible.
Anything.
Let's talk about the other rapist, the Black Hood rapist. If anyone watches Riverdale, I hope you were as confused as I was.
Sure was. And they said Riverdale this episode too, I think. And I was like, someone's been watching the CW. Someone has been watching the CW.
One of the writers is a fan of Riverdale. But Carisi brought him cookies.
Yep.
That's what I was about to say. It's the cookies for me. Like how he slid it over. He's like, "Well, yeah, cookies." Like,
and then he says, "Besides the cookies, what's in it for me?"
What's in it for me?
Nothing. We gave you cookies.
Like, they weren't
That's
even Oreos. They were just, what kind of cookies were? What kind of cookies were they? Unidentified brand of cookies. They were off-brand cookies. You gave that man Equate cookies, and you were like, "Yeah, it's gonna be fine. Like, just eat them."
Why? So if he was like the cookie rapist, like that would make sense.
Not the cookie rapist.
Why did we give him cookies?
The visual in my head was Cookie Monster being a terrible person, or terrible being rather, that I just like popped into my head. I guess because, I mean, in jail, like, you don't get many luxuries, but like they have commissary. Like, you're not going to tell me. I don't believe that they have noodles. There's like jail menu tricks on TikTok where they make these different meals. I know people went to jail. Someone made them a birthday cake. So if someone can make you a birthday cake in jail, like, cookies can't be the carrot that you're dangling in front of this person's face.
What? This is off topic, but you talking about jail TikTok, which is like the wildest side of TikTok. I need SVU to do something with jail TikTok, like now. It needs to happen.
I'd watch it.
Jail talk is where it's at. Honestly,
there's makeup routines on there, and makeup tutorials.
And...
Did they just steal clips from Orange Is the New Black?
No, there's people there are people in jail. There are incarcerated people who somehow have phones and do dances in jail. I'm not joking.
They did the June bug. They was doing that one in jail. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. We all know what I'm doing with the rest of my evening. Let's finish up this show quickly so I can do that. I'm so confused.
It's a thing.
All right.
Definitely a thing.
Okay. I'm looking at my notes. Anything else we want to talk about this episode?
Oh, I thought about this. So only because I have like all black on, is that meeting. Like, so we just all wore all black to this meeting on the side of the building with the police chief, and we're like garlands. We have a hat on, everybody's in all black. I'm like, that doesn't look suspicious at all. Like, that didn't draw any attention at all. Like, that's totally secret and covert. Like, I didn't know who any of y'all were standing outside of this public building in all black together. Like,
I agree, and I like at that meeting when Finn was like, "Do you want me to talk to him?" And Betsy was like, "No."
Like, absolutely not. Bad press.
Let's
Like,
talk about whatever Moldovan and what a name, and Finn, and their pissing contest, because what I thought was interesting is you have two women who are in charge, who are arguing, and their two like men number twos are ready to fight. And the women were like, "What are you what are you doing? We are discussing."
Some Hamilton duel vibes right there. Like with their seconds, like you're going for duel.
Yeah. This is
we're
my
the
champion.
Emotional ones.
Right?
Like, no.
Yeah.
Oh.
Zach in the chat says they probably don't have his favorite cookies in Greenhaven.
But if that's his favorite cookie, get some taste. Like Felicia said, they're generic.
Like double stuffed Oreos all day. Like,
Right.
if you're trying to bribe me, double stuffed Oreos or like a homemade chocolate chip cookie. Like, that's it. Like, if your granny didn't make it, get out of here. I'm not telling you anything.
It's
nah.
I just watched Love, Simon for the first time, and I was like, "Oh, it's Halloween Oreos," because that's a part of that storyline. And I was like, "Oh, these are two different things. Never mind."
Yeah.
I was like, where's this going when you talked about Love, Simon? I was like really excited for where that was gonna connect, but Halloween Oreos would be cool.
Another thing I thought was like kind of like a waste of time in the conversation with him was like him talking about like his mom. I guess that was like the reasoning about it, but it was like, okay, you said I was gonna be close to my mom and then my mom's died. Okay, let's move on. Like that, we could have like cut out like half a page, like a quarter of a page at least, like because we don't just spit that all out. Yeah, you said I got close to my mom. My mom died. Boom.
I have to give credit to that actor. That's Christopher Holliday, who played Joey Nuccio, the Black Hood rapist, I guess, because that was, I think, the funniest part of this episode was everything that he said. It was great.
The body language. He was like,
yeah, my cookies. Amazing. All right, let's move on to our next segment, the best lines of the episode. Taylor, I'm sure you have plenty, or at least one line of this episode.
I have 3, so if everyone else wants to go first, I have some backups.
Okay, my only line was besides the cookies, what's in it for me, because I literally shouted, "Nothing."
Yeah, that. Okay, that is in it for you. That's it.
Cookies. Felicia, any favorite lines?
Nah, nothing really stuck out to me.
Yep, that's fair.
All right, I got 3 for you guys.
Okay.
I did like the beginning where Finn had no clue what was happening in the Bronx, and Olivia's just like, "Finn, do you not read your emails?" And I was like, feel called out by that. The line, he said he liked girls who collect animal figurines. That's a bizarre thing to like compliment on, but sure. Okay. And then from our favorite girl, Ruse, "You played me like some dumb chick rookie." It's like, I love it.
It's the hand gesture. Can you do the hand?
"You played me like some dumb chick rookie." She said that.
She did. I do have that written down as well. I agree. The figurines thing was weird. It's a weird detail. Also, the girl was like, "He asked my favorite color." I said it's black, but I said pink, and he liked that. Is that gonna lead us anywhere?
Never came back. That's the thing. I was like, oh, so maybe he likes his girls like young, like has some kind of like,
or ultra feminine or something.
Right.
Super girly. I don't know.
Right. No.
I held on
It's
to
just
that
like-
too, and it didn't go anywhere in the episode. I was like, okay, information.
No, because
Exactly.
I was like, "Ooh, pink's my favorite color as well," but no one knows that. They assume it's red all the time, so this is interesting.
I love that.
It really, I felt seen.
They also said the word rat so many times in this episode. So you're a rat. Like,
yeah, that was a weird energy. Like, so you guys, he freaking lied about the shooting and then was pressuring Rollins to lie too. And I was like thinking in my head, like, okay, Rollins, girl, I know you since you've been a victim. Why are you acting like this? Like, why are you acting like you're scared to go against him or you're trying to like back him up? Like, what are you? She's like, I didn't see one. She's like, I told him I didn't see one, but that it was fast. I don't know. Like, he really tried to convince her, like pressure her into saying that she saw something at that moment, like that exchange with them outside of the silos. And I was just like, maybe this is what he's done so many times to other partners or people he's worked with. It's like the power of suggestion is real. It's a real thing. People experiencing it every single day. When someone continues to say it with so much authority and reassurance in their self, if it's a damn lie, he really tried to pressure. And you even see Rollins, I consider her to be a veteran and an amazing detective and just a super strong woman, even doubt herself for a second. Like, well, wait, what am I supposed to do in this situation? It does seem a little weird. I don't really know what to do. So I could see how Ruse would totally bend to whatever he said.
Yeah. Absolutely. It seems like, especially this season where they, at least at the beginning, were trying to evaluate, police behavior. And this episode falls into all of the old patterns, which I think is fascinating, that our team isn't like, no, we're not doing that anymore. Our team is still like,
I think that, I think that they kind of tried to recognize that for like a second when Rollins was like, you could tell she was feeling uncomfortable when they were like outside and the guy was on the rocks and whatever. But yeah, they need to dive deeper into that if that's going to be a theme this season. Like, I think that's what they were trying to do with that, like, flicker of, like, oh, snap, like, I'm not getting fired over this, all of that kind of thing. But it was bizarre. I also do want to say, the scene that was, like, darkly funny, like, it wasn't funny, but it was kind of funny, where they were at the bar, and he was like, oh, I think you got a text. She texts her text. There's this look under the table. Just like, he's like so thirsty for her to check her text. Like, I just thought that was like such a funny way that played out. Check, I think you got a text.
It was so weird. I thought
it was so funny.
I literally do that all the time to like my friends and stuff. But, I mean, I'm not trying to pull a gun on them, but I do all the time. I'll be like, I think I heard your phone ring, and they'll be like, text me. Like in 5 minutes, say that like your dog has a shit emergency and it had a projectile shit everywhere, and your neighbor's calling you so we can leave. Like something like that. Like that's totally me. I'm like, I think I heard your phone ring. Did your phone ring? Where your phone was ringing? But just be me, like, bitch, I want to leave. I want to go home. Can we get McDonald's fries? Like, that's what I would do.
Zach in the chat says, how Finn is sergeant and doesn't check his emails got me. Yeah, I agree. And Daryl says, Rollins always does this with men in authority. And I think that's super interesting because we know she has that issue with men in authority. But also, let's talk for a second about the guy had a gun in his mouth and she went, do it.
Do it.
Do it.
I was like, what is going on here on this day?
It was like that moment she recognized, oh, you ain't about it, so do it. Like she was like, she was like, oh, wait a minute. He ain't gonna do it. Do it. Do it.
Do it.
I thought he was gonna do it. I thought he was gonna do it.
I only thought he was gonna do it after she said to do it. I didn't believe it until she was like, do it.
Do it.
I was like, oh, snap. But she's very good at that. Like, she has a history of being great in those situations where it's like really high stakes of being in someone's mind. Like, she's very quick with it. I would say even better than Olivia. She gets into someone's mind so quickly. She just can read them. We've seen that in so many situations, or hostage situations, or guns are drawn, and she does that. So, I mean, it made perfect sense for her character.
It's so interesting that you bring that up, that she is so good at reading people. And that's, I think what needs to be pointed out is that there is this psychology of the children of abuse are incredible at reading people. And I think that is where she's gotten that skill set. And that's such a like minor detail that has continued through the show and that hasn't been dropped. Because you're right, we've seen it every time there's like a hostage situation. We laugh at her. You're one of the good guys. I see that kind of behavior, and it's the same. We're in that same situation, but a different side of the coin with the do it.
Yeah, like I read you. You ain't built like that. I know you. And she's just. I mean, that's her MO. Like literally, she gives me like Criminal Minds vibes. The way she like just is able to profile people so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
She's just good at what she does. And how does she get her hair like those perfect like curls? They're always like it's like straight but curly, but not too like just. You're a mom.
I literally
like, how do you have time for that?
I noticed that exactly in this episode too, which is so funny. I was like, wow, her hair looks like so good right now.
Literally, like perfectly. It's like you you woke up like that. Like it's just like, oh, I just woke up. My hair's like with beach waves, tousled, just
maybe. Interestingly, not to get on this whole hair topic, but like Barrack had the opposite.
Yeah, I think that goes along with the lack of confidence. Look, stop! I'm trying to make this point and not laugh because that was funny. But it goes along with the lack of confidence because of how you feel about yourself. A lot of times, your outward appearance does reflect that. So from what I see right on that screen, y'all love yourselves because y'all are beautiful. And it just added to that. I don't feel good about myself. I don't feel confident in my position. She looks disheveled. She was looking for a dang pizza menu in her file cabinet.
I love that.
Pizza menu. She's like, here it is. Pizza.
Like, I was like nestled between like
rape
these like crazy files.
Like rape, molestation. Pizza.
That was a good detail.
Yeah.
Pizza.
So this episode was not ripped from any headlines. Oh, did you have more you wanted to say before we move on?
Well, I just wanted to point something out that I thought was interesting, could be interesting to bring up. But I saw a tweet, and I forget who tweeted it, but someone was like, oh, Barrack is out of like SVU in the Bronx. What if she goes to organized crime? Which would be very interesting.
That is interesting and leads perfectly into the next segment.
I'm glad I didn't mess it up.
Nicely done. So yeah, it is interesting that she's leaving SVU in the Bronx. She, as of now, she is not set to go to organized crime, but I do have some organized crime casting news. We have been talking about organized crime here on the show. As a reminder, we will be watching the first episode crossover situation and discussing that here. After that, we make no promise that we will continue to watch organized crime. But in the meantime, we do have some news about it. So there has been a couple of casting announcements. So first of all, we have this woman. Let me share screen. I know how to do this. Nope, that's not the right button. All right. I found it. I figured it out.
Yay.
So this is Danielle Monet Truitt, and she's been cast as a series regular. Let me move that out of the way. Opposite Chris Maloney, Dylan McDermott, and Tamara Taylor. But that's not all, because wait, too many buttons. We have more casting for the show, which is this one. Charlotte Sullivan, Nick Cregan, Ben Chase, and Jalen Fletcher are also going to be on the spin-off series on organized crime.
I'm here for this.
I love it.
I think it is very interesting, and I'm very excited to see these new cast members, whoever they may play, because when they announced that Chris Maloney was doing this, I was like, cool, here for it, down. And then they announced that Dylan McDermott is joining him, right? That's the one? Yes, Dylan McDermott. And then I went, you have, this was your choice? And then they added Tamara Taylor, which is wonderful. But now we are adding 4 more people, and at least half of them seem to be people of color. So I think we're getting there, but it just seems odd in 2021 to start a show that has to start with a white male lead. and that the second one is also a white male lead.
Yeah, I agree. That this
you think it's odd? I think it's pretty much on brand for where we are. I think that it's noteworthy that they're trying to make it look more like the audience that watches it. Literally, there's so many people who love SVU from all walks of life and all age demographics too. So I see like that I forget the one with the curly hair. You said Julian. He looks very young. So I think that's nice. There's diversity in gender and in age and it's just aesthetic. Period. But it's like we'll have to see. But is it Jalen Fletcher? Yeah. But
yeah.
I'm not surprised. I'm not like, oh my God, how can they not do that? But also I'm almost like, okay, cool. Like it is what it is. This is the show lead, and these are two big names that you think maybe people will follow. So I mean, I get it. I'm still gonna watch it. I mean, I don't know if I want to watch it all the way, but
we're gonna see the first episode and see.
We're gonna give it a chance. We're gonna give it a fair chance.
I'll say that the newer casting news has made me feel more excited.
Who was the first young lady you showed us? Because she was freaking breathtaking. I mean, I know you can't judge anybody just off of how they look, but like if her on screen, if she's as captivating in that picture on screen as she is in that picture, like she'll be the star. Like she'll be the star. Like.
Well, so she's added. There's already Tamara Taylor, who we talked about before, and now Danielle Monet Truitt is this woman, and then the other 4 people. I'm here for it. I will say Daryl has a great point in the chat. You have to have 2 white male leads in case one of them does things stupid and gets canceled. I get it. I get what you're saying. I think that's a fair point.
That's such a good comment. Yep.
Look, this is my show. I can say what we want.
I mean, hey, that's very true. We're gonna find a tweet from 2009. It's gonna be over for somebody. Yeah.
I mean, anyway, all right. I was like, I could take this somewhere terrible, but I'm not going to. So, on our show here, we like to talk about what we learned. Do we do what we learned after the poll?
We do what we learned after the poll, yes.
My bad. We do a weekly poll.
Yeah, we do.
If you missed it somehow, we do a poll here every week. Last week, what was our poll, Taylor?
Our poll last week, we were discussing the episode of Mean, and so we discussed our favorite Casey Novak episode, which I went and watched pretty much all these in the poll afterwards and was not disappointed because she's always been my fave, and that's never going to change, I don't think. But anyway, our options for last week, coming in 4th place, which is so upsetting, was Blinded, because Blinded is so good. That's the one where Elliot gets blinded, and then we talk about, but her boyfriend was schizophrenic, and like that's why she's covering that. That's one of the ones I watched, and it was incredible. It held up for me.
Harken to the Ark, man. Harken to the Ark.
Harken to the Ark, exactly. In, I guess, 2nd place, because there's a tie for 1st. In 2nd place, we have Night, which is the one where she's like attacked in the office, and she gets like the flowers and that whole thing.
That's the one where she wakes up in the hospital and she's like, "Was I raped?" Because she sees Olivia, and I was like, "That's a fair point.
That's a fair
Olivia
point.
should not be there."
No, that gave her a little panic attack. And then in 1st place, we have a tie, which I think this is a fair tie. These episodes are both great. We have Mean, of course, which is what we talked about last week with the, my birthstone is Garnet, like in September. Like, what's in your birthstone? Such a good moment. And then Svengali, which is an interesting one. It's like the serial killer, and she's like, how do you like my work at the end of it? So all good episodes. Those were results of that. And then this week, we're asking which your guys' favorite Dirty Cop episode is, because we had a Dirty Cop in this one for sure. In last place right now is Signature, which is so upsetting because that's the one with, I think it's Julia Stiles, correct? And she's the one who has the mentor, and then she like kills the serial killer.
Julia Stiles was never on.
Julia, what's her name then? Julia. Oh my gosh, what's her name? Because I get their names confused all the time. Hold on. It's the girl from Parenthood. Erica.
Oh.
Right? You know what I'm talking about? She looks like Julia Stiles to me.
Yeah.
So
I was like, wait a minute. I was like, okay.
Erica Christensen.
I'm so sorry. They look alike to me, so I get them confused. Yes, Erica. Yes. Sorry.
I was like, in what world was Julia Stiles on
They
the show?
look so similar to me. But
I think she looks like Christine Taylor, but okay, go on.
Also true, but that's a good episode, but it's currently in 4th place. And then in 3rd place right now, we have Secrets Exhumed, which, listen, I do not like this episode. This is the one when we find out that our fave, Dana Lewis, Marcia Gay Harden, has killed someone and is going to jail, which, like, why? We should have made her a full-time squad member. That's my hot take that I'm sticking with. And then in 2nd place, we have the one that we just talked about. And in 1st place, we have Internal Affairs, which is the one I think where Cassidy goes like undercover. So all interesting episodes for sure. What would you guys say is your favorite out of all of those?
Not this last one.
Oh, this one?
Not this last. No,
not this last one.
Not this last one.
I already voted, but I'm interested that we don't have an episode. The episode with what is her name? The Persian actress.
Yes, and she was Sonia, and then is that the episode you're talking about? I'm watching season 12 right now. And she was like I'm not good with Yael will know like the episode, season, the number, the title. Like I don't.
That's not true.
My brain cells
I will not remember the title, but I can tell you.
I can tell the
quotes.
And this is the one
names.
where she killed her partner who had cancer and was dating the guy who was in was a part of that she worked with. But she killed her because she wanted to be on top and have power. And then that's when she broke the wall and there was the cash in the wall.
Yep.
I think her name was Sonia. She had interjected herself in the investigation from the beginning. It's like season 12. I want to say like it's like episode maybe like 13 or 14 or something.
It is 12-14. The episode is called Dirty. Nicely done.
Oh, okay. I'm vaguely remembering this.
Her character's name was Sunny.
Right now. Yes.
Okay.
What did I say? Sonia is the drunk ADA.
Yeah. We love Sonia.
The actress is Sheree Agdeshlu, and I love her so much. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. One day, if they make a biopic of my life, she will play my grandmother.
Oh my gosh, love it. Okay, I'm vaguely remembering what you're talking about because I remember I watched that live, and it was one of the first ones like I watched live. But sorry guys, I had to do the research with what I had, and I wanted to include Dana Lewis.
I know you apologize too much. Don't apologize.
Thank you. And I thought Signature was pretty underrated because that's at the end she like shoots herself, and it was kind of similar to the end of this one too. So
there's plenty of dirty cops to go around.
That's true.
True.
I already voted.
Which one did you vote for?
Internal Affairs.
I figured.
That was a great one. Now I feel like I can't vote for that. I got to vote for something else now.
I really loved that one. It's because of the end with Cassidy when they're shooting and they're like, shots fired, and then they shoot. I like that part. So and then when she's a cokehead and they're like, did you think he was gonna be with you, you little cokehead?
Yes, that line. Rent free.
Yeah, she makes fun of her for being an addict. Anyway, that's our weekly poll. We'll tell you where to find that in just a bit. But now it's time for our favorite new segment of the season, which is What Did We Learn? I had learned something and I forgot what it was.
Shoot. Okay, I actually learned something legit.
Okay. Oh, boo.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I'll think of a fun one after. But I thought it was interesting that they brought up, even though it was brought up by Moldovan, which like obviously we don't stand. I like that he pointed out that questioning in like a non-linear way is like sometimes helpful for victims to like remember things more clearly than like the linear way, which I think that we've probably discussed that before, like when we bring in different techniques and things. But I thought that was really interesting because I kind of had forgotten about that. And I think that's true. Like if you kind of do it random, maybe like different things will spark in your head. So I like that we learned that.
I think that's a really great point. I think it reminds me of that entire storyline we did last season to learn
they drive past the statues.
Yeah, and like the questioning, the tell me about water, like that thing that we learned last season that has not come back. So it was interesting. I kind of wanted Rollins to be like, I know I've been doing this a long time.
Right. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, Felicia, what'd you learn?
I think my takeaway would probably be just like the whole, it really had been on my mind and on my heart too, kind of like women being powerful and working together. Because I think, like you said, Ruse was pissed off, not necessarily because of Moldovan, but because she had trusted this woman, this fellow woman, like look like young like her, like, you know, like, and that she kind of betrayed her, or that Barrack felt like she was inadequate, you know, and obviously she is clearly comparing herself to Olivia throughout this whole entire thing. Let's be quite honest, whether she said that vocally or not, it just seemed that way to me. And just like, how can I be better at collaborating with women? Do I do things that make it hard to work with me? Like, do I do like what's your personal accountability in that? Because like I said, when you're in a male dominated industry, you kind of gotta have a little toughness to you. And sometimes you forget that in working with other women. Oh, she's had to also develop this toughness about herself. So am I judging her, working with her, and understanding her by the intention of her intentions and her heart posture, rather than exactly what she's doing? Because she's gonna talk tough, because the way I talk, you hear me? First, I'm gonna have a freaking Jersey accent, so anything I say sounds rude as hell off the bat. Like I could be like, oh, like excuse me, like I'm just really just trying to walk past you, like I'm not like upset, but it just sounds tough, you know, it sounds like kind of harsh or whatever. So just kind of like thinking about, as you climb and become more successful, and what does that look like in working with other women as you build your career from the ground up. So it's always been really important for me to like support other women. So just being cognizant of that as I work my way up, and understanding that, you know, sometimes a bitch gonna be threatened because you just pop in. Don't hold it against her. Just love her. Don't hold it against her. Just love her anyway. That's my takeaway.
I love that.
You both like such good takeaways, and we're just like, I learned that Finn should read his emails. Like,
I don't read my emails, so I'm never reading my emails.
Yes, Daniel, exactly.
Daniel learned Finn should check his emails.
I agree. I did too.
Sarah, our friend Sarah, learned that Manhattan's squad room is currently better and in cleaner shape than the Bronx one on several levels.
100%.
Honestly, I learned that the best deal has to be better than cookies. That's what I learned.
Good.
You got it?
It's good.
Which is hilarious, because in my college days, people knew they could bribe me with a Snickers bar. So like I've grown.
And you're valid for that.
You can still bribe me with them, but bite-sized Snickers, because I don't know why I don't want to bite into it with my teeth. I know a bag of them though. I just want to pop the whole thing. I don't want to like bite into it, but like, so your bite-sized Snickers, and you got me.
Yeah.
What you want to know?
I mean, if you missed Valentine's Day, you can send Felicia some bite-sized Snickers. I don't eat chocolate anymore, which is a bummer. So now I don't know what to bribe me with. Anyway, that's what we learned.
Now me and Taylor are thinking what to bribe you with. Like,
I know. I'm like, ooh, what if I get on her bad side? Like, what do I do now? Like,
apologize. That's what you do.
That's fair. I can probably do that. I can probably manage.
I think you got it. I think you're good. Yeah, that is, I think, our show for this week. Thank you so much, Felicia, for rejoining us. We're happy to have you back on the squad.
Thank you for having me. This feels like home. I love you guys.
I love you. Thank you to everyone in the chat, Zach and Daryl, Daniel, Sarah. I feel like I missed somebody, and I'm sorry if I missed you. I'm so glad you're all here joining us live on our show. Thank you to everyone listening to our audio podcast version. If you missed our special interview with Lindsay Hollister, who played Agnes Linsky in Mean, go and check that out. It's available here on YouTube. In our playlist, it is also available on the podcast format and on fanversation.com. Also, I'm going to give you the hotline one more time before I tell you where to find the poll. Again, if you are in a situation and you need help, please reach out to RAINN. Their number is 1-800-656-4673, 1-800-656-4673. But until next week, when we return with a new episode, I believe.
I think so.
I think we have one more new one before break.
Noxious. Felicia, where can everyone find you on the internet?
On the internet's on Twitter, it's Felicia on air. But Instagram is one of my platforms. So if you want to find me on there, it's Felicia Michelle. I'm over there, just doing my thing. The rest of this week, I'm going to be reading a Black History Month children's book every day at 1 p.m. Central Time, which is, y'all can figure that out by the internet. And I'll be doing that and just chatting with people live this week and just celebrating the last week of Black History Month.
Awesome. Taylor?
Yes, you guys can find me on Twitter at alphabet_Ann. You can also vote in the poll, which I encourage you to do. And you can find me on Instagram at Taylor_Gates_. I also host a Twilight podcast called One in Forks, and that's available on Spotify, Apple, wherever you find podcasts.
Probably wherever you're listening to this podcast. You can
do a little double feature with me.
Awesome. I'm everywhere at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL. This week, Super Lady Hero Hour should be returning, assuming my co-host has power in Texas. Also, Streaming Wars. If you're looking for something to watch on a streaming platform, that is the show for you, because we will tell you what's crap and what's great. Also, I'm going to be on Twitch this week. Hopefully I remember and have time and energy and get dressed. We'll see. Twitch.tv/Yael Tygiel. That's it. All right. Bye, everybody.